Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your SmackDown review. Now, what a boring show this was. You know, Raw was bad enough with Balor winning, and, you know, I will say this about SmackDown. I see that they were trying to do things a little bit differently here and there. Just a smidge, you know, we're gonna get to the Mandy Rose stuff. At least it didn't have Balor, but at least with Balor being, you know, winning and Cena, you know, raising his hand in victory, it felt somewhat eventful. You felt like something was occurring, at least nothing significant, but, you know, something was happening at the very least. So, you know, you had that going for it. But the rest of the show, you know, was awful, and the result of Balor winning. But SmackDown, this just all around, like, it was dry as fuck, and like they tried to do cutesy things like having EC3 like posing backstage. Also, weirdly enough, Nikki Cross, who was just on Raw, was like, you know, making faces at Rey Mysterio from behind the gate, which I didn't even get to see that. You know, I read about it. It wasn't in the clips that I saw of the show. So we started off with Becky Lynch, and, you know, they show her like marching backstage. You've got Heavy Machinery, which you see that they want to have a brand extension, but you see that they don't even know what show they want them to be on. I mean, after that disastrous debut, if you could even call it that, for, you know, people were joking around. They say I missed EC3 on Raw, and he was backstage, and I will say that I actually did. I had no idea that they had him backstage there. That is just so lazy. Like, wouldn't you, like, save EC3 until, like, the big reveal, until he's ready to debut, and, like, save him for a special moment, you know, to come on the scene, like, right at the right moment? But they're not going to do that. They're just going to be like, oh, there he is, get excited for him, and then he's going to be just like everybody else. And so we have Becky Lynch. She comes upon Heavy Machinery, and, you know, you've got New Day. They said they were giving up pancakes, but they still have pancakes, because, you know, that's consistency for you. You know, we don't need consistency, you know, like, so we're going to just, you know, basically forget about what we said 2 weeks ago. You know, it's back to the pancake gimmick. Heavy Machinery, they're putting tuna fish in with, like, milk and shit, and it's just fucking disgusting. And I guess this is supposed to be funny. It's gross out humor, but it's just fucking gross. Like, oh my god. Like, I'm someone who eats, like, a lot of tuna, and to see them, like, fucking pouring it in with the milk, I was like, this is just, like, what are they trying to make people sick? And then Becky Lynch comes along, and, you know, she says, you know, oh, it's not strong enough. You know, she takes a drink of it. I'm like, first of all, to even, like, want to drink that makes her disgusting. Like, what is this, Jackass? Like, is she Johnny Knoxville or some shit? Like, taking a drink of, like, something disgusting? And once again, it's like a forgettable moment. And I don't, like, Heavy Machinery, like, that, you know, that the guy who was, like, trying to, I don't know if he was trying to, like, steal the tag titles or hit on Alexa Bliss, or if maybe he was doing neither and he was just acting like a weirdo. I don't know which one it was, but, you know, he's just, like, what is his character exactly? Is he's just, like, some type of random weirdo who just, like, you know, it's also, he also talks like how Hornswoggle did when they would make him talk before, like, they actually let him speak. He's like, like, okay, is he, you know, so this is his character, to just make him a dumbass, like, you know, to make like he's got mental problems. You know, that's real interesting. You know, after all the stuff that they've done with, like, you know, handicapped children and shit, like, they're gonna kind of turn around and you know, kind of make fun of the mentally disabled. You know, people had enough, like when they did it with Eugene, and then they did it, you know, to a lesser extent with Festus, like. But it's like, why even go this route? First of all, both of those characters were done better. And this one was, you know, there was a fair amount of Eugene that I actually enjoyed on TV. At least when Eugene was on the screen, it was entertaining. When this guy's on the screen, I mean, they're making some fucking disgusting shake. And that's about it. New Day's just like, like, you know, in the background there. It's just like, I'm just looking at it. And I don't know, like, what to think. Like, what am I supposed to think when I watch this? And Becky Lynch, like, strutting around like she's all tough. Cringy Lynch, try hard Lynch, call her what you will. But, she comes out to the ring. And, you've got Asuka coming out there as well. And, you know, I guess she worked all week on trying to come up with an English catch. You know, I'm going to say, like, I've been praising Asuka as of late. I said now, you know, that they knocked her down a few pegs, I started to feel sorry for her. You know, and I'm happy that they're giving her an opportunity with the title. She's a talented girl and everything. I know I've criticized her selling in the past, but she's not as bad as Seth freaking Rollins. And then again, who is? But, you know, Asuka, like, pieced together this little one-liner, and she says, you know, after the Royal Rumble, you won't be living in Charlotte's shadow. You'll be living in my shadow. But just, like, I can't even do the accent justice. It needed to be clarified by Corey Graves, who repeated the line verbatim. Just in case you didn't get it. Like, usually they would, like, paraphrase, like, a promo and something. You know, sometimes, like, Michael Cole has to do, like, the closed captioning. He's like, he will sometimes, you know, repeat what a wrestler said, like, the most defining part of the promo. And I never understood that. But here you have Corey Graves acting as the subtitles of a fucking anime. You know, saying exactly what she said word for word. It's like, it's almost like in the headset, McMahon or someone else, you know, in management told them, Corey, you need to clarify what she just said, because it was like, it's one of those moments where you have to, like, lean into your screen to hear exactly, like, what she said. And it was, it didn't come out very clear. I'll be honest, you know, just so I'm not saying things just to be funny like some people accuse me of. You know, I actually did understand what she said. It's just the fact that, you know, I found it kind of funny that Corey Graves had to clarify the statement. That gave me a laugh. So, you know, if that's, like, not cringy enough, you know, Becky's all tough and everything, all making all these facial expressions and stuff, and, you know, I saw a cringy comment on YouTube, you know, on their YouTube page. Somebody says, "Oh, I loved when Austin unzipped his vest to show the man t-shirt." And what he was referring to is, like, when Becky was drinking the protein drink, she, like, unzipped her leather jacket to show off her man t-shirt. Okay, you know, like, I mean, these Austin comparisons, I thought we were going to leave those behind in 2018, but apparently they followed us in 2019. They need to stop. We need to send them back to the previous year, never to be heard from again. I never want to hear another person make a comparison to Stone Cold. I mean, like, and then the Iconics come out, and things just get worse. I mean, at least they were off TV for the most part. But, you know, let's start off 2019, because you know what they got to do. They're going to bring out everybody that hasn't been showcased. Sanity didn't even last a week. You know, you got Nikki Cross, like, prowling around backstage, making faces at Rey Mysterio, but they can't be bothered to bring back Eric Young. I mean, like, so he just had that one. He didn't even wrestle, actually, at the time when he returned. You know, he got to do a beatdown and then be at ringside the following week. I mean, so we do a match with Becky Lynch beating Peyton Royce, and then we do a match with Asuka, and she beats Billie Kay. And, well, you know, that was a lot of fun, I guess. You know, like, sitting around watching two, you know, matches that you know the result of, and hearing the iconic screechy voices, and Becky Lynch just being cringy Lynch, you know, just the only way that she really can. I mean, God. I mean, ugh. Man, like, what a headache after watching this. Like, you need, like, a fucking Advil. Then you've got AJ Styles backstage, and he's at the concession stands. And, like, I don't know, like, who took the time to lay out all those hot dogs so neatly on the table. But he's talking about, hey, you know, let the WWE Universe eat what they want. So, you know, like, AJ's basically, like, telling the crowd, you know, eat shit, you know, don't worry about your health. Okay, you know, like, AJ's, you know, pretty fit guy. I mean, you know, always, you know, like I said, for someone his size, like, you know, I speak from experience, you know, it's, you know, he looks impressive. I've always said so, you know, like, having him be, like, the voice of hot dogs, not a good look. But anyway, I like a good hot dog, but all I'm saying is that how you have AJ here. And the thing is, I need to ask, and I asked the question on their YouTube page. Hopefully somebody answers me, you know, not WW obviously, but maybe one of these, you know, wrestling experts on there. Maybe they could tell me as to why AJ Styles is supposed to be the new AJ Styles. Wasn't he supposed to be like a heel, or at least a tweener? Wasn't he supposed to be a badass, you know, and all this, or like, okay? And he's like, you know, the same guy who punched Vince McMahon on, what was it, New Year's Day. He rears back, punches Vince McMahon straight in the fucking face, knocks down a 73, 74-year-old man, however old he is. And we've got him now, like, you know, basically telling the audience, you know, don't listen to Daniel Bryan, don't listen to what he tells you to eat. And then we got a pretty good brawl, actually. Like, I didn't think that this was that bad. I mean, it looked a million times better than Lashley and Rollins from last week's Raw. Way fucking better. This actually looked somewhat, you know, realistic. It actually looked like they were having a fight and not just, you know, to each other like they most of the time they do on these shows. So, and that was about it. You know, just about 3 minutes of your, you know, world title match being built up here, and that's about it. So what happened? Daniel Bryan was on fire last week, cutting awesome promos. I praised it. I actually said that I was enjoying a portion of SmackDown, at least a good 10 minutes of it. And, you know, they just whisked that away in favor of some, you know, like, why do they have to have the worst shit? You know, you could have at least had the good stuff, you know, amplified. Like, more Daniel Bryan, you know, at least have another Daniel Bryan segment. But actually, let's give even less time to the best part of the show from last week. And instead, let's put more mindless shit. You know, they dedicated so much time to Becky Lynch and her cringiness. And it's like, I'm just looking, it's like, are the ratings going up because of this? Is anything improving? No, but we're just gonna keep, you know, going straight ahead and just keep on going with Becky here. And I'm not really seeing why that is. Why are we continuing on, but, you know, the main focus being on Lynch? Like, we already know the women do not, you know, sell this show. They don't get ratings. They've already seen that when they put them in the main event of the show, but they still insist on doing it anyway. They did it on Raw. They keep on doing it. Like, well, no, they didn't do it on Raw. They did it on the previous week's Raw. It doesn't matter. Whatever. They're gonna keep doing the spotlight. You know, you're opening your show with the women. You're gonna close with the women. I mean, like, it's just not working. So why? I mean, the definition of insanity is repeating the same mistake over and over and expecting a different result. And they are not getting a different result at all. They're getting the same one. Pure shit. So let's move on already. You know, we talked about AJ and Bryan. Let's wasting that. So the Usos are doing a photo shoot. You know, for some reason in the middle of the show, they're just doing a photo shoot. And, you know, up walks a guy with a gift box. He gives it, and, like, I don't know, this is, like, the weirdest thing. Like, when you get a gift, do you, like, have somebody, like, read the card to you? I know, people are gonna say, "Oh, you're nitpicking again. You're nitpicking." I mean, okay, I'm not nitpicking. It's just that I find it really humorous sometimes, like, you know, like their way of like interpreting life. Like, you know, you get a gift, like you have somebody like what is Jimmy illiterate? Like, can he not read the card? Like, so they find out that it's a hotel room key, and the letter is signed by Mandy Rose, and oh, you know, we're gonna get a little bit of action from Mandy Rose here, you know, and you kind of knew where this was going, because I actually left it out of my Raw review, but they did actually show Alexa Bliss in a really weird segment, mind you, which I don't know how I missed this one. I was covering so much, and you had Alexa Bliss just like in a towel, and some, not even like a wrestler, but you had just like a stagehand come in to give her a coffee that had like studs all over it, and like he's like turning away and everything, and you know, never mind the cameraman that also followed him in there, you know, of case suspension of disbelief, whatever. But we're going to get to the suspension of disbelief in 1 minute here, because I think it really needs to be addressed. I think it's important that we address it. You know, and so this was like really weird, you know, that they kind of just threw this in there. Okay, oh, you know, it was Alexa and a towel. This is, you know, and it didn't feel like the ruthless aggression era. It didn't feel like the attitude era. People were praising this. And then you also had, you know, the White Knights saying, "Oh, this is not right," and everything. And I'm like kind of somewhere in the middle here. I'm just like, okay, you know, Vince is desperate. This didn't even lead to anything. It was super random. So anyway, they're going with this. They want to make it more scandalous, more edgy. You know, if you want to consider this edgy. I mean, like, okay. So like I said, benefit, you know, I'll give them credit. You know, credit was due. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, maybe they're a little bit rusty, even though they have a whole network full of edgy material that they could reference if they forgot how to do it. You know, they know how to make countless documentaries. Oh, we used to be edgy. Oh, we used to have attitude. Oh, we used to have ruthless aggression, but, you know, no more anymore. You know, we're not doing that style anymore. It was a different time. So, you know, it was a different time. Okay, I understand that. We get that. It's been repeated 1,000 times. So, you know, Jay asked Jimmy, you know, what are you so what are you gonna do? He goes, I don't know. Like, wasn't he already decided on this like the past few weeks? Am I really? Thing is, what I have to say sometimes is like, I can't believe I'm even analyzing the show sometimes, because first of all, it's just so fucking bad, and second of all, it's like, does this even matter? Like, I mean, you know, honestly, like, I wrote, like, a pretty scathing comment on YouTube, you know, about, you know, Finn Balor on their YouTube page before I made my Raw review. And someone said to me, you know, you shouldn't take it that seriously and everything. And I was like, you know, and you just ruined it. It's just fucking wrestling. Okay, so obviously he's probably triggered by that comment a little bit. Probably a Balor fan, whatever the case may be. But I was like, maybe he's right. First of all, I'm watching a cringe-ass product. And, you know, I'm like doing it really mostly for entertainment purposes. If I wasn't making these reviews, I would not watch this show because it's fucking awful. I mean, once in a while I would probably if I heard something good. But, you know, here I am making these reviews. So it's like, you know, sometimes I stop and think and I'm like, you know, maybe he's right. You know, but I'll still make the reviews, but I'm like, yeah, I'm like, what am I getting so bent out of shape about Balor? I'm like, you know, okay, so I'm exaggerating a little bit. I'm not really upset. Monday night, you know, I went to sleep just fine. Didn't think about Finn Balor, you know, at all. Unlike, you know, Meltzer Magoo and Wade Keller probably did. So they show us Samoa Joe walking by, and EC3 is posing. Is what I talked about before. Yeah, you know, really great. So, you know, I understand this is supposed to be foreshadowing, but, like, there's no need for that. You know, we already saw his video package. It's, you know, just show him already. All this shit that you're showing right now, it sucks. It's horrible. So you might as well give us something better. You know, but instead, you know, show them for 2 seconds backstage. Okay, it's not like your show is horrible and that you probably need all the help you can get. So then we have Mustafa Ali coming out for a match, and Samoa Joe attacks him from behind. So I guess we're going to get this classic feud now. Do I really have anything to say here? Aside from Mustafa Ali, I will say that the guy's got guts. He takes some big bumps. But after what I saw him do, at Survivor Series against Buddy Murphy, he did another moment like that. So at Survivor Series, he got pushed off the top rope when, neck, back of his head, whatever, went back first into the barricade. Never saw anything like that. Or, maybe it happened in Ring of Honor. It's been a long time. And it shocked me that something like that would be allowed in a company like WWE that used to actually look out for their employees, that, actually pulled the reins back after Brock Lesnar's concussion at WrestleMania 19 in his match against Kurt Angle. They did. They actually said that they were going to pull back the reins on it because they didn't want to see another top star, any star for that matter, get hurt. And it was a decision that I really didn't quite understand at the time, and I was bad-mouthing it because, it was in my first year of high school, and I was like, I'm in 10th grade here, and, I'm like angry, like, oh, they're going to water down the product, not realizing that these are human beings, and it should definitely be something that should be applauded by the company. They're still entertaining us. Think about this. They watered down the product, and they didn't do as many moves in 2003. Yet the product was 20 times more entertaining, and they didn't even have to take those big risks. Think about it. Think about that. Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar had an Iron Man match in 2003, which is widely regarded as one of the greatest matches ever. Not just SmackDown history, but some people, even on What Culture. I believe it was, Simon, right? Isn't that his favorite match that he said, like, of all time or something like that? Whatever it is, it's like one of his favorite matches in some type of category, wherever that may be. But, they didn't even take any risks in that match. I mean, it was pretty safe. There was a lot of submission moves. There was a lot of chain wrestling. But, it was just a lot of, mat wrestling and different types of moves. And there wasn't really any big risks there. So I have to say, they accomplished one of the best matches. And I agree it was a very, very good match. I don't know if I would say it's one of my favorites of all time. But it's definitely one of the best on SmackDown. So I don't know, why, they don't look at that, on the network and say to themselves, we really didn't need to have all these wrestlers taking all these big risks when you had matches that were so much safer. And, they accomplished so much more. That was for the title. It was meaningful. It was the culmination of a feud between Angle and Lesnar. I mean, they accomplished so much, and they killed so many birds with one stone there. It was almost like, why take all the risks? But here's a match where there's no stakes on the line. It's nothing. It's random. Samoa Joe and Mustafa Ali don't even have any history. But yet Joe is beating him up before the bell. It's not like he's done this 10 million times before. But then he takes Mustafa Ali's head, slams him face first into the ring post, mind you. Doesn't cover up. I'm like, this guy, he's either insane or he's a fucking idiot. I mean, holy fucking shit. I mean, he slammed his fucking head into the goddamn barricade. I'm just sitting there saying to myself, what are they thinking? What in the world? He just took him face first. No protection. Wrestlers get their hands up. What was the point of that? I'm sorry, but Mustafa Ali is not over. No one is going to like him because he hits his head on fucking ring posts. I mean, honestly, is anybody gonna honestly, say they would like Mustafa Ali more after this segment? It did nothing for anybody involved. It didn't further Joe. Did we even have a conclusion to Samoa Joe and Jeff Hardy? Jeff Hardy's second week. Is he injured? I don't know. What is he doing? I'm not sure. You tell me. Everyone's being left off this show. The world champion is only on there for 3 minutes. Then we had Andrade And it's just Andrade. It's no longer Andrade Cien Almas. It's no longer anything. Vince McMahon, obviously, at work here, just like Antonio Cesaro, just like Big E, just like Rusev. I don't understand the point of this. I mean, you know, they seem like they introduced the character, then all of a sudden they have a huge name change, and he's not just been introduced. This guy's been on the main roster now for what's going to be almost a year, and all of a sudden, like, the biggest change that they could come up with him. Oh, maybe develop his character. Oh, maybe we should go back to the original concept of that he's supposed to be like an Alberto Del Rio type of character. No, you know what we're going to do instead? We're just going to make him the same boring character, but we're going to just give him a first name, not a last name. You know, even though he's wrestled for months and there's no change, there's no gimmick change or anything, it's just weird. It's like, you have to ask, like, what is the purpose of even doing something like that? It doesn't even make any logical sense, but whatever. I just felt a little bit off-put by Rey Mysterio losing here. It's just like, you know, he's just been beaten down so hard, Andrade, and Rey hasn't even really accomplished anything, but I could go on all day about that. Up next, you had Mandy Rose in the hotel room with Jimmy Uso, and, like, you know, suspension of disbelief. There was a lot of things during the Attitude Era where you could say, like, okay, you know, you could suspend your disbelief a little bit, but never too far. This, I'm sorry, was a little bit too far. You know, first of all, he's like a timid child when he comes in there. Like, he's got Naomi. You know, you take a look at Naomi and you already know, you know, this guy's got some good taste, right? So, you know, Mandy Rose, he's all like, you know, and the thing is, like, first of all, they have a photographer come in there. Like, no one's seeing this on TV. I mean, I know even Wade Keller was saying that, but even I have to agree with him. You know, she's getting shots, and she's going to show it to, you know, the world, and Naomi's supposed to believe this. Even though it's already been known for weeks leading up to it that, you know, Mandy Rose hasn't been doing a very good job seducing Jimmy Uso, because Naomi kind of knows that it's a ruse to begin with. And we all knew it wasn't anything like that she was really infatuated with him. It was just a reason. She even states it's the reason before she even goes to the hotel to Sonya Deville. And does anybody agree with me that Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, like, why are they even together? It's so odd to have, like, a former MMA girl, like someone who could actually be a worthy contender, or, you know, appear to even be somewhat of a worthy contender to Ronda Rousey, and she's just stuck in this role. It does nothing for her. Like, what are they even doing with her? So, you know, they stick her in this part, this little storyline, and Mandy Rose already saying, like, what she's gonna do in the storyline. It's like, you know, it's almost like an old, like, villain in a cartoon, you know, saying, like, well, you know, let me tell you about my evil plot before I do it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a running gag, but they do it anyway. So here they are in a wrestling program, you know, like a TV show that's in prime time doing it. And it just looks fucking retarded as all hell, but, you know, they're doing it anyway, so there you go. And so, you know, the photographer runs in on Jimmy Uso, like, you know, when he's, like, in a weird position. He was, like, reaching out to Mandy for something, whatever it was, and she's like, oh, I got it, you know, all these photos are going to be everywhere, you're ruined. And then, you know, Jimmy Uso says, give me 1 minute, and Mandy Rose just, like, stands there. She doesn't even scramble. Naomi rushes into the room and she starts beating up Mandy Rose, but then somehow Mandy Rose ends up, like, throwing her into a chair, hurting Naomi. And I'm just like, so Jimmy Uso's the baby face, and he brought backup to beat up Mandy Rose, and he's the baby face. That kind of makes him look bad. It's like he brought his own hit squad on Mandy Rose. And if that was the case, You know, why did they wait to the absolute last moment for this to play out, to have Naomi rush in? I don't really understand that whole thing. It just looks stupid. It looks so damn fake. I mean, can we honestly, do we honestly have to watch this in 2019? Are they really putting this out there? And I know people are going to give it credit. I know what culture is going to be like, oh, it's edgy. You should be appreciating this. It's what you've asked for. This, I'm sorry, no. This is a very, very light form, very poorly executed form of Attitude Era or even Ruthless Aggression style of writing. I will say at least they're giving it a little bit of effort. They tried something a little different here. They tried something they haven't done in a while. And it's clear. It clearly shows they haven't done it in a while. It's being done by different people. People that are poorly trying to copy something that WWE did and failing miserably at it. This was obviously trying to, you know, rekindle some of that previous magic, but not even getting anywhere close to where they used to be with it. So anyway, then we've got the main event. It's The Miz celebrating Shane's birthday. This has got to be the lamest shit I've ever seen. Why would they even, you know, dream of the idea of even having Miz anywhere close to becoming a baby face again? It did not work well the first time they tried it. And God almighty, it will not work the second time that they try it. It will work. The product's even worse now. So why would it even work? So this brings out the bar. Shane puts Miz into a match. He beats Sheamus. Just like whatever at this point. I don't get, like, after everything that The Miz did, I've been saying this for a long time now. Everything that The Miz has done for this company. Everybody, even What Culture even admits it, that the guy has done a phenomenal job as a heel over the past few years. Really stepped up during this one of the shittiest periods of this company's history, and he showed that he was one of the key players. He was one of the few entertaining parts of the show. And how was he rewarded? With a fucking tag team title match with Shane McMahon for whatever reason, and they're still parading around that dumbass trophy that, like, no one even gives a shit about, that they don't even give a shit about. They're trying to give it a little bit of, like, value, but what is it? It's the best in the world trophy, you know, and it's being held by a guy that's not even a fucking wrestler. I don't even know. So it's like they're a tag team because the Miz's father is not proud of him, and, you know, he's a fan of Shane McMahon, so he feels like the only way he can play. I mean, just like me explaining this to someone who doesn't watch wrestling, they're gonna think I'm a fucking nutcase. I mean, honestly, it's not me. As you know, as they're taking me away to the mental institution, like, you understand it. It's the Miz, and his father wants him to team with Shane McMahon, and I mean, like, oh my God, it's just like a total migraine watching this show and just like trying to like even remotely comprehend it and break it down in the video for you guys. I mean, like, oh geez, like, what is this show even supposed to be? I don't know. I couldn't even fathom it. I mean, you know, there was some minimal effort here. I mean, you could kind of see it in certain glimpses. You know, they tried to be edgy. They failed epically. Who am I kidding? It's a shitty show. What do you want me to say? I mean, the best thing that was on there last week, it wasn't even on there. It was Daniel Bryan talking. Building his character. They didn't even give him a spot this week. You know, like, thing is, you want to do the brand extension, you don't want to build a character. You know, you want to build a character once a week, and then you don't even have him appear on the show. So, what like, I mean, anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the review. Please hit a thumbs up if you did, and if you didn't, please hit a thumbs down and tell me why. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. Check out some of the content I have posted here. And thank you for watching, guys. Until next time.